business owners, entrepreneurs, and even my ministry leaders. I got a question for you. Have you ever found yourself really trying to figure out how to use social media, but do it in a way where you can leverage it to specifically grow your business? Well, I know what you're feeling and I know what it's like. On this episode of Bootstrapping Business and Ministry, I'm gonna show you 5 different ways that you can leverage social media to help grow your business. What's going on, everybody? Glenn P. Brooks Jr. here, back again for another edition of Bootstrapping Business and Ministry. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, guys, over these next 2 parts, I'm going to help you by laying out 5 different strategies that I've used, 5 different things that you can do, 5 different tools that you can use to leverage social media to help grow your business. Here's the biggest challenge with most entrepreneurs, business owners, and ministry leaders. We really don't have the time to learn something new. Most of us are really creative and very good at the one thing that we do. And the challenge is if I have to come outside of the lane that I'm in to get into this lane just to be able to do something for my business, more than likely, I'm kind of going to let that go, or I may go grab my cousin and have him help me out. Well, if my cousin isn't good at it and don't know what he's doing, I'm gonna be in trouble. Well, here's what I know, especially when it comes to bootstrapping your business, guys, you have to figure out a way to get full advantage of social media. Guys, let me just say this, and I can't shout this loud enough. Never before in the history of time has it been easier to market your business, ministry, or anything that you're doing in the way of adding value to people. It's free. It's a marketing platform that if you really learn how to use it, it will work wonders for you. I'm going to take you inside of a lunch and learn that I did with our M.A.P.S Master Class. Every Wednesday, we do a live lunch and learn where a bunch of entrepreneurs that I coach jump in a room with me and we pull these kinds of things apart, but we relate it to their specific business. Sit back. I'm going to come back at the end of this and help you understand ways that you can get in touch with us. This is the first part. 5 ways of leveraging social media to help it build your business. I hope this helps. So today, for this Lunch and Learn, I want to talk to you guys about 5 ways for leveraging social media to drive results. A study that was put out by Sprout Social found that 60% of millennials are likely to purchase from a brand that they follow online. The numbers are also favorable even for other generations using social media. 67% of Gen Xers and 51% of baby boomers are likely to do the same. I had a situation recently. My mother is writing her first book, and she was there when I wrote my first one. And my mother, if you ever get a chance to meet her, she is a wordsmith. She is a natural born editor. She sees mistakes like they're highlighted. She knows how things should flow when it comes to anything regarding words, reading, and how things should be presented. And so when I submitted to her the manuscript of my very first book, I knew what was coming back. I felt like I was in school again. And I was getting there. I didn't ask her to mark up nothing. As a matter of fact, I wanted her to read it because she was in it. And I needed her to understand how I was portraying her before we published that book. It wasn't to get her permission, it was to make her aware. But in that bad boy came back with a whole bunch of marks. First of all, son, the story was fabulous. Second of all, I didn't know. Thirdly, and this one was with tears in her eyes, I apologize, I wasn't there for you. But now that all that's being said, how about these mistakes though? How about this? There are if you allow me to share, I done seen so many typos. Are you going to print with this soon? I said, well, I ain't now. And one of the things that I realized was she was a great resource for me. And so I sent it through that process. We sent it to actual editors who we paid to do that kind of stuff, got it back, and things went okay. And we were able to release that. Well, my mom, now that she's ready to write her own book, and this is now almost 10 years later, that time I was just telling you about was almost 10 years ago. Matter of fact, next year, I cannot believe it's been 10 years since my first book. But yes, it will be 10 years. She is on social media in a way where she's discovering things as a baby boomer in her 70s that generally is not something that even she would wrap her mind around. because of her old school way of thinking. And so when I talk about that 51% of baby boomers are likely to do the same, she sent me a link to a person who was coaching people on how to write copy. For those of you guys who are not aware, copy is merely the messaging that you put in behind any advertising special or marketing campaign. The written text is called the copy. Because my mother is a prolific writer, she knows that space. She said to me, she said, son, can you do me a favor and can you look at this and tell me A, if it's legit, and B, if you think it would be worth my while? I looked at it, took me about 5 minutes to kind of peruse through what the lady was offering. And I said, no, Ma, this is legit. And as a matter of fact, I think it would benefit you greatly, particularly knowing now where you are and where you're going. I said all of that and I gave you guys that whole story for this express purpose. She bought this woman's program off of the fact that it was on social media. She doesn't know this lady, never met this lady, doesn't know a lot about the products and services that the lady was offering, but because she trusted it, and do me a favor, make sure that everybody's phones are on mute, because she trusted it, it looked solid enough, she cut and pasted it, and then she sent it to me, and by the time I gave my 2 cents, she said, boom, done, paid for it. I want to let you know that there are 5 ways for you to leverage social media for your business. And number 1 is to first figure out your audience's preference. And when I say that, my mother has to now figure out where is her audience. What social media is a baby boomer on, if that is indeed her target audience. One of the things that I love that we get to do here in the M.A.P.S Master Class is we help bring clarity. And we're teaching you guys that there's a huge difference between your target client and your target audience. There are 2 different people, 2 different kinds of people. Sometimes they do meld and they kind of overlap, but many times they are 2 separate people. The person that will sit and sing your praises and the purpose that will purchase your product often are 2 different people. And if you do not show up on the right platform where your client is, you can be Instagram rich and have no money in the bank. You can have a gazillion likes on YouTube and making $0, right? And it's because you're on the wrong platform. Right message, wrong platform. It's the right message for your target audience. It may not be the right platform for your target client. So therefore, you are putting out what you think is super dope and super amazing content and ain't nobody buying nothing. And the reason why is because you're not speaking the language of your target client. So I want, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, YouTube, I don't care the platform. The question is not do you like it, but is your target audience there? Not do you care for it, but is your target client there? Let me just say this so that you're super clear. I don't care for LinkedIn because LinkedIn is a long form platform. I don't like talking business talk. I like talking just regular people talk. But the truth of the matter is, if I am targeting a school system to bring me in and talk about my book on connecting to students, then I would want to go where administrators of school systems are and where they're talking about that subject. Now, true, they may be found on Twitter. They may be found on Facebook. They may be found on Instagram. But here's the truth, guys, and I need y'all to hear this very clearly. Please understand. At the end of the day, I need them to buy something. And I have to be able to show up in a place where they're likely to do that. And if that place is Facebook, then that's where I'm at, whether I like Facebook or not. So I need you to get out of the love affair that you have with your favorite platforms from the standpoint of showing up and adding value. I'll give the example all the time. Monty Weaver is the quintessential introvert. He does not like the camera whatsoever. He does not like talking to people. He is much content in having his office. The lights are down. He is grinding and he is putting in work and he ain't got to talk to nobody. That's his world. Jennifer J is clapping her hands. Why? Because she is a beast when it comes to systems and implementing systems. They don't talk back to you. She likes it like that. They don't have conversation. How you feeling today? It don't matter how I'm feeling. How you doing with this code? How you doing with this action that I'm going, because you did this, I'm going to do that. And I'm going to set up a whole algorithm on the back end to make something do that. That's how she moves. However, if she's going to grow her platform, if she's going to grow her business, she's going to have to be able to show up where her target audience and or her target client is, and she's going to have to develop the ability to connect to them. That's game changing. Number two, we're talking about how to leverage your social media for your business. And this is ridiculously huge, especially for my people who don't think that content is king. You have to, put this in the chat, create engaging content. I didn't say entertaining. I didn't say educational. I didn't say inspirational. I said engaging. See, I've heard of many of educational messages that quite frankly were beneficial in terms of the wisdom, but they weren't engaging because it was one-sided. If you're telling me how to do something, I can sit passively and learn that and never engage you. The problem with that is that now the algorithm of your particular social media platform is not playing nice with you. As a matter of fact, no one is seeing that post. Why? Because no one's engaging it. And so this is why it becomes really ridiculously important to do things that make people do something, right? We call it a call to action. Sometimes my call to action is put it in the chat. I'm gonna get me a t-shirt soon because I say that all the time. Hashtag put it in the chat with an arrow pointing down. Just put it in the chat. Like, I know you read it. I know you saw it. I got a question for you. And sometimes if you hear me live, I'll say to people, and they feel like I'm in their room and in their house, and I'll look right in the camera. I said, no, that's a real question. I need you to put that in the chat. Answer me. And then you'd be like, Jesus. Well, alrighty then, Mr. Answer You guy. What I'm doing is not feeding my ego. I'm feeding the algorithm. Now, full disclosure, I'm a flamingo. It does feed my ego a little bit. Full disclosure. If you ever seen a preacher preach in front of a room full of people who don't say nothing back to him, that messes with his ego. That's why black preachers don't like to speak to white audiences. It just is, because white folks don't answer back. Ask Gary Owens, the comedian. That's a whole nother thing. He got a whole bit on how he didn't even know that was a thing. Oh, you can speak in church? Oh, you can talk back to the minister? Really? I didn't know that was even a thing. You know what I mean? He talking to the people beside. The preacher says something and he saying, hey, they say, get it. I know that's right. Preach on, preacher. Right? And he's sitting there saying, well, what in the world? You're going to make him keep going, and we want this to be over. Like, we're trying to go home. And they're like, come on with it, Pastor. Well, that means we're going to be here another hour. But you can really, that's disrespectful. Why are you doing that? And then he says it right out. He said, well, shoot, if you talking to him, then I can talk to him. He said, I'm going to try it right now. Yes, I am. Pastor says something. He said, hooty-hoo. He don't realize, bro, that's the wrong thing. You're not supposed to say hooty-hoo. The point I'm making is that it's got to be engaging. And when I can make something engaging, it will make somebody put a response. Ashley just got finished, and for those of you guys who are catching this by replay, or maybe I'm repurposing this on another platform, we've got a relationship coach. She's a therapist, and she's amazing at what she does. Her name's Ashley. She just picked her son up and put him on her lap. Let me tell you something about social media. If you do that just because you're trying to quiet down the baby, it wasn't for the baby to be on display. Here's what will happen. Oh, he's so cute. How old is he? Listen, they go into a whole sidebar about the baby. Is it a boy or a girl? What's his name? When was he born? My baby's got blue eyes. My baby's got blonde hair. My baby's got curly hair. Whatever you're not talking about none of that. But the algorithm doesn't know the difference. So what the algorithm does is says, oh my God, this has got all this engagement. And now all of a sudden, because you had something wasn't even on subject pop up in your video, it now is pushing your stuff through the platform at a ridiculous speed. And now this is how people go viral over dumb stuff that wasn't even their plan. The point I'm making is that the content is engaging. Well, guys, I hope that helped you out. Today is just the first of 2 parts of really trying to figure out a way to leverage social media to do one thing, and that is drive results for your business. If you're a business owner, if you're an entrepreneur and you want to get in touch with us, I want you to click the link in the description below to be able to sign up for a free session with me. It's a discovery session that will help us figure out if I'm a match for you or if I can help you. Let me say this so that you're clear. Every entrepreneur, every business leader needs a coach. I may not be the one for you, but if you don't have a community, you really need to find one so that you can leverage your business. Listen, I hope this helped, and we'll talk to you next week. If this series of videos have been a help to you at all, I want you to do me one huge favor. I want you to subscribe to the channel. Well, maybe 2 huge favors, maybe 3. I want you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Click one of the videos, and we'll see you back again for the next edition of Bootstrapping Business and Ministry. Why? Because you can't get to any place of significance by yourself, because we all need some help.